One of my favorite things to ask other homeschoolers is how they ended up homeschooling. I love to hear the journeys and the decisions that brought them to that point. So that's what I'm going to share today. But before I share mine, I'd love to know how you ended up homeschooling. So if you want to leave me a comment and let me know, I'd love to read what brought you to this point. Now, what brought me to the point of this video was that I had started putting out a video of why we homeschool now. And I realized that I never really shared why. I never really gone into detail about why we share or why we homeschool at all. So I will do one about why we continue to homeschool, especially high school, because I know that's something a lot of people wonder about. So I will do that, but probably not till the new year. In the meantime, though, let's talk about how we started homeschooling. So when I was in high school, there was one family who their daughter was my age. She she came to school in her junior year. And she was the only person I knew who had ever homeschooled. And I didn't know anything else about homeschooling except for that. That was 93. So they were kind of still in that fairly early movement of homeschooling. And then after we got married, on some discussion boards, I heard people talking about homeschooling, but I was an education major in high school or in college. So while I knew of homeschooling, we never really talked about the homeschool world in my education classes. And so when I would hear people talk about it, I'm like, okay, but I didn't really understand why, because I was still very much in the mindset of a more traditional schooling atmosphere. And then we joined the military, and on a first base in Washington, I would see a sign up regularly about the local homeschool group that met on the base. And, all these little seeds were being planted. And then I was very much involved in, more natural more natural parenting and lifestyle discussion boards when Elizabeth was a baby. So I heard a lot about homeschooling from those communities. And again, seeds were being planted. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I was still definitely in the mindset of, we'll do this and then we'll send them off to school and then I'll have my days back. And we moved again, and we were in Hawaii, and my husband deployed, and we put my daughter in the base preschool mostly so that I could have a little bit of time without her there and with just my middle son. Wasn't really for the education. It was a very play-based preschool, and it was a great choice. But I was still in the mindset that, yeah, maybe we'll do it. But during those times, there was just a little bit of a tug that I thought, maybe we'll do public school. And then when my husband was coming home from deployment, it looked like we were going to end up moving right after he got home, and then for school, and then that would put us moving again. So 2 big moves in kindergarten during that school year. And that seemed terrifying to me, to put a little one through that. It seemed like a lot for a first school experience. So I mentioned it to my husband, and he was on board with it, whatever. He left that decision to me. And so, as it turns out, we didn't end up moving that year. During our kindergarten year, we moved during her first grade year. But again, as we were approaching that school year, we knew we'd have to move at least once, and then maybe twice, probably not, but we didn't know. So again, I thought, I don't want to do that to her. So we homeschooled first grade, moved again, and I just didn't want to send her to school. I liked our flexible days. We had definitely already found the value in having a flexible school style as far as the military goes, because we were able to move during the school year without it being an issue. We were able to take off as much time as we needed. We were seeing, before deployment, my husband had a couple weeks of leave, and people who had kids in school weren't able, it was the middle of school year, it was October, so a lot of them weren't able to do anything, but we were able to go to Disneyland and the Grand Canyon. So we were seeing all these benefits of homeschooling. And, about this time, so that was, I've lost track, I think that was her second grade year. And I was starting to see how different parts of her learning were, in the way she learned, would make things difficult in a public school. The parts where she excelled beyond what would be accommodated in a regular school setting, and the ones that were going to be a struggle and be extra difficult in the school setting. And I really worried about what would happen. And so that's kind of how we ended up homeschooling. As I often like to say, just blame it on the military. It's kind of a life motto around here. But I really don't think that if we had not joined the military that we would have ended up homeschooling, because the seeds that were planted to me once Elizabeth was born were seeds that directly came from different circumstances that military life had led me to. I would love to know how you came to homeschool, so be sure to leave me a comment down in the comments. I'll see you over in the next video.